Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
Mayor Craig Thurmond, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you, Clay?
I am honored to live in Broken Arrow. I mean that, my friend. I met you through Chuck Ramsey, who is one of the founders of ShawHomes.com, one of the it actually is the largest builder in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And they were singing your praises. They're saying that you have made it very easy to build. It's very builder-friendly in Broken Arrow. And so they accredit you for a lot of their growth. And I'm just glad to know you, man. I really am honored to live in the city that you helped to lead.
Well, it's very important that we're business friendly in Broken Arrow. So that's I'm glad that they're happy with us because we try our best to be business friendly.
Now you, I understand you got a big pay raise this year. You've been mayor now in Broken Arrow. For how many years have you been mayor in Broken Arrow?
I've been mayor 8. I've been on the council 20 years, though.
20 years, and you went ahead and you've been in council for 20 years, and you've been mayor for how long now?
For 8 years.
And I understand you got a huge pay raise this year. You went up to $0.
Yes.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, yeah. We're still at 0.
Are you aware that you don't make any money on this?
I am aware.
You know, a lot of times politicians like to do these kind of shady moves. You know, you hear politicians, you hear them getting money on the side over here, little money over there. You hear about people, really benefiting from the investments, in the stock market, maybe insider information. It seems as though you're not aware of the purpose for a lot of politicians. A lot of politicians get involved in politics so they can benefit on the side. Are you aware, sir, that you don't make any money?
I am very much aware of that.
Why do you choose to do it then? I'm sure that it's got to be stimulating dealing with complaints from citizens. There's got to be somebody out there that's upset that they want to build a road over here, somebody else who doesn't want a road to be built, someone who wants a bridge, someone who doesn't want a bridge. Why would you choose to be mayor? Why would you put yourself through this?
Well, I think that not many people get the opportunity I've gotten to make a difference in my community, and I am able to make a difference in people's daily lives. Local government makes the biggest difference in people's daily lives, so we've been able to do that, and I've been able to do that, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, I'm going to get we have 3 guests here with us today. We have Larry Schmidt from Grisham Services. He has a company right here in Broken Arrow, and I'm going to introduce the listeners to Larry. Again, on tomorrow's show, we're interviewing Ben Carson there, which is an unbelievable honor to interview him. We get great guys like Larry on the show, Ben Carson, people like you, and we don't allow just anybody on the show here. So, Larry, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
So tell us, how did you first meet Mayor Craig?
Well, we actually met him through, I worked with his wife at Starbucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
It's 6 years ago.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're just going to want to eat that microphone. It's a very sensitive thing here.
Yes, sir.
So you worked with his wife.
Yes.
And now tell us what your company does now. Like, what does your business do?
So we procure oil field parts and equipment. That's basically, we work with large oil companies, and we're their purchasing department, for the lack of better words. So we'll take and resell the best price delivery, whatever we can get for them. We're going to take care of them in that manner.
Do you know any family or friends who live in different cities that are not happy with their mayors? Do you know anybody that and I'm not asking for a name, but I mean, do you know people that don't enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma? Do you know people?
Absolutely.
And maybe contrast what Mayor Craig, how he leads versus what maybe, the people that who are in cities where they're not so happy with the leadership. What do you, because again, it's almost hard to explain to people who are not from Broken Arrow the culture he's created here, that he's helped to develop. Can you maybe compare and contrast what it's like to live in Broken Arrow versus what you're hearing from friends and family that maybe live in cities that are controlled or led by mayors that aren't that great?
Yeah. I think it's the discernment. I think he's got a great discernment with him. I think it's the time that he takes, the effort that he takes to listen and really go through the processing. It's not one of those split decisions, and he's not manipulated by other things that are around him or other people.
I agree with that. I mean, it's hard to be a person of influence if you're easily influenced.
Absolutely.
And there's this thing I call the squeaky wheel theory.
Yep.
Dr. J, you're a chiropractor. I might have you muted there. Dr. J, you're a chiropractor.
I can't believe you muted me.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you there. And you're from, by the way, I have a button for myself. I hit that button whenever I offend myself or you. Now, you're from Nashville, though.
Yes.
What's it like living in Nashville right now?
It is not apparently as good as Broken Arrow. So Mayor Cooper just raised property taxes 34% about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was awesome. We don't live in Nashville. We have property there, so that's great. Mandated masks. The cops are actually downtown on Broadway issuing citations and or warnings for people not wearing masks. Broadway is like the big touristy. That's where everyone goes when they go to Nashville. So that's happening. It's great.
Really? That's happening?
100% happening, yeah.
So what I want to hammer home is you just said that Mayor Craig uses discernment. Now, what I have found is it's easy to stand up for freedom and individual liberty when things are easy. Super easy when it's easy, right? I mean, when there's
Absolutely.
no pandemic, it's probably easier. Mayor Craig, have you had phone calls from people in the past that are livid about wanting to shut down the whole the whole city? Have you had people livid about, do you ever have a squeaky wheel that calls your office?
I've had a few phone calls and a lot of emails about trying to mandate certain things and trying to shut down our city when we were open, and there's has been a lot of pushback. Yes.
So talk to me about this. Because somebody calls 17 times and is louder than everybody else, does that mean that they are more correct?
No, we go by the data. We basically look at the data and decide what's best for our citizens, and we do take input from citizens, but we look at the data first, and that's the most important thing, is see what really is happening in the world.
Dr. J, have you ever had a customer, a patient you've dealt with who was wrong but passionate about being right? Have you ever had somebody who's wrong but is squeaky? They're so squeaky, you'd almost just want to give them the oil. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, it has. It has.
So unlike in your business, if a patient's upset, you can refund them.
Correct.
Even if they're wrong.
Sometimes the best thing to do, just cut bait.
But it doesn't affect everybody.
No.
However, Mayor Craig, if you make a decision to appease the one squeaky wheel, it affects everybody.
It does affect everybody.
Different
Yeah.
kind of game here.
Right.
Larry, for people out there who are considering voting for Mayor Craig, give us your take on your interactions with him and maybe why you feel like he's the kind of guy we can trust when you're in a difficult economy, a difficult world, a world where everything seems to be changing. Kind of tell us your take on your interactions with Mayor Craig.
I think the biggest or the most important is the aspect of him processing through the decisions and making sure that it's going to be in the best interest of the large community, not just the businesses, not just the people that live here, but it's really the whole encompassing factor of the city. What's going to be in the best interest of the city? And taking that from that perspective, because it's easy to say, hey, we need to have the businesses open because there's what's driving the economy, but what's really the big factor in that? And it's really keeping the business, keeping the people healthy, and pulling it all together, not just saying, hey, this is what they're doing, so we're going to do it, or this is what they're doing, so we're going to imply that here. He's really taking apart the each part, well, like he said, the data. He's evaluating the data, and he's allowing us as individuals, as people with the city, to make those decisions that are going to benefit us.
So let's get real. Let's get into the details of the data. Let's pick on two areas, okay? One that's very topical, and one that's maybe not as topical for other people. Recently in Broken Arrow, I believe you have finished building a bridge of some kind. Is this correct? A bridge or a road? There was some road. A road. What road did you finish building?
We finished 209th or 9th Street is what we call it in Broken Arrow, from 51st to 61st. It was just dirt. And
why did you finish building that road?
We paved that so people could have connections to other parts of the city and to shopping and other things. So it was real important to build that.
Was there some people that didn't want the road to be built?
Yeah, I'm sure there was quite a few people that didn't want the road built.
But it needed to be built. Why?
Because it was service for our community.
So you looked at the greater good? Is that how you do it?
Yes.
Okay. But somebody was upset.
Yes, someone's always upset.
Someone's always upset.
Yeah.
Okay, but you looked at the data,
Yes.
and then you decided the greater good.
Right.
Interesting. Now, but you could have decided based upon what other mayors have done. You could say, this is what other mayors have done, therefore I should do it. All the cool kids are doing it. Or you could have said, I'm going to do this because I feel a lot of pressure. or I'm going to do this because. There's a lot of non-logical ways to make decisions. Let's get into this COVID thing for a second. Luckily, our governor is making decisions now based upon facts, not fear.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, let's talk about this. And again, I'm not a medical expert, and I'm not saying you are either. But you have these tests that, according to Andrew Kaufman, he is an MIT, Duke, Medical University, South Carolina graduate, medical doctor, Andrew Kaufman. Dr. Jim Meehan, Tulsa, virology expert. I can go on listing doctors, and I've got it all cited here so you can see it. According to these people, the RNA tests, the PCR tests, and the antibody tests are all going to show a lot of cases.
Right.
So if we are focused on, if we're using cases as the benchmark for deciding whether to be open or not, we would hypothetically never be open again.
Right.
And I'm hearing, people that I know personally are going, hey, I've put off this elective procedure for 4 months. Mm-hmm. Now I have to get it done, knee surgery, whatever.
Right.
So of course it's going to increase certain hospitalizations when everybody in America's put off every elective procedure for 4 consecutive months.
Right.
So what data are you looking at to make the decision about opening, not opening? What data do you look at?
Well, we look at the state health department data. We look at Tulsa County's data. We look to see, and we get calls from the White House every other week. In fact, just a recent call we had, the director of the CDC was on there, and he said it was really important to focus on consequences, not cases. That you need to focus on what's really happening as far as, so we look at the hospitalization data, we look at the death data, and see where we're at according to, based on those, and not how many cases, because the cases can be misleading.
But again, that's facts.
That's facts.
Mm-hmm. Now, you run a business. I mean, Dr. J, you run a business. Larry, you run a business. Yep. Larry, what's a decision you've had to make fairly recently as we wrap up today's show where you had to go off the facts, not based on your feelings? Maybe it wasn't a popular choice, but something you had to do that was you had to make the tough call. I mean, what maybe a budget cut, maybe deciding to spend money with one vendor or not somebody else. I mean, can you give us an example of where you have, as a business owner, have to make decisions based upon facts and not feelings?
I think the biggest is laying people off. I mean, truly having to go through the personal versus the business side, looking at your numbers and putting the facts together. You don't want to do it because it's affecting them as individuals.
Right.
But when you put out the facts, you have to really process through what that decision entails as far as a business comes from and how many of those people are going to be affected if you don't make that decision. And I think that's part of what we've had to do.
Mayor Craig, I pray for you consistently. I mean, literally, I pray for you. Because I can feel the weight when I'm praying. I'm going, this is a heavy prayer. I mean, just the weight of this time, such a time as this. And I appreciate you helping to bring the Bass Pro Shop to Broken Arrow. Mm-hmm. I appreciate what you've done to bring the Warren Theater to Broken Arrow. I appreciate what you've done to improve downtown Broken Arrow.
Right.
But I just appreciate you standing up for religious freedoms, for personal freedoms. I can't tell you thank you enough, man. I really do appreciate it. I'm a father of 5, and I thank you for standing up for what frankly matters to people that believe in the Constitution and the Bible.
Well, I think it's important because we are a biblical society, whether people agree with that or not, but we are, and we have a Constitution, and we have a lot of patriots in our community that have fought and made a lot of sacrifices for that Constitution. And it's important that we uphold that Constitution, and we're a free country. We're not like a lot of countries around the world that are not free, and people fought and died for that.
If somebody wants to vote for you or learn more about you or wants to just kind of learn more about what you stand for, Mayor Craig, what is the best website for them to go to?
MayorCraigThurmond.com.
MayorCraigThurmond.com.
Yes.
And MayorCraigThurmond.com. And what is the day we need to put in our calendar? When's the next election?
April 6th, 2021 is our next election in the city.
April 6th, 2020.
Yes, 2021.
2021. April 6th. 2021.
Yes.
Oh, I was trying to trick the listeners. 2021. Yeah. So you got to put in the calendar, though. This is very important. If you don't vote, folks, if you don't use it, sometimes you can lose it. You lose those freedoms. You got to get out there and vote. Mayor Craig, thank you for joining us today. Larry, thank you so much for joining us. And Larry, some of our listeners like to buy stuff from some of our guests. Where can people go to buy things from you? Like, what's your website and what kind of stuff can you sell them?
It's GrishamServices.com.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything. I mean, we are procurement because we have qualified staff that can go out and procure parts, equipment, stuff that's hard to find.
Yeah.
We can make that happen because we've got a team that can do that and look for the best price, best delivery.
Awesome. Well, then, thank you guys for being here. And we like to end each and every show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Boom.